Good evening. Welcome to Astrology Throwdown tonight, where we do our best to prove things. Today, we threw some stones and someone caught them. What does that mean? I've been doing a concept art project where we've been installing beautiful jewelry gifts, and we put them out in front of Hamptons.com live streams so we can watch who gets them. It's really cool. And today it was found in Southampton outside of Hildreth. And a young woman opened up the card and just walked off with it. So it's so interesting seeing how people react. Sometimes they don't see it, sometimes they check it out and leave it. And we haven't, we hope nobody fights over it because I can see when two people find it, how are they going to decide who gets it? But don't fight. Let me know. I'll try to make you whole or something, okay? It's not about anything but looking at things in a new way. And this is the perfect time to set new values and to appreciate new things in a new way because we have so many planets in Taurus right now. And Taurus is the constellation that's all about values and the things that we like to keep that make us comfortable, keeping our homes beautiful. And it's ruled by Venus, and Venus is related to money and values. And what I'm trying to do here is to get people extremely familiar and comfortable with astrological concepts because they really resemble colors. We all know what red looks like and feels like, and we all know how we feel when we look at purple, but we don't know how we feel when we think of Taurus. Like, what does Taurus feel like? So, but Taurus is like a color. It's one of the ways that I use to appreciate the color of a constellation is what month is the month when the sun is in that constellation? So think of Taurus. The sun is in Taurus in May. What's happening in May? There's beautiful flowers and it starts to become more beautiful and temperate. This is a good way to think about Taurus. So it's beautiful. And now that there are so many planets in Taurus, and I will even tell you what those planets are because I have it right in front of me. Uranus, Mercury retrograde, the moon, and the sun. The moon might not still be there. Moon moves so quick. But think about that. No, I'm wrong on that. It's Mercury, Neptune, and the North Node. Okay? That's kind of a lot. So think about that. What's in Taurus right now? Uranus. What is Uranus? Uranus is, I like to say that David Bowie, quirky, brilliant, scary, exciting, and genius and shocking. And you never know what's coming next. It's not too hard to get a handle on what that energy is. Okay, so think about that. What would that be like in Taurus, the beautiful month of May and the flowers and the jewelry and the beauty and culture and everything? It would be shocking changes to culture, it'd be shocking changes to money, be shocking changes to the way we perceive value. Okay, so we have a great time to be revolutionary about what we love and care about. And we have Mercury retrograde. That's a great time to think about our thinking and to look back on the way we've been communicating with each other because we could all do a lot better, especially me. I'm not a bastion of anything, but we we can look back on how I'm not a bastion of anything and maybe change it and maybe do better. And that's what it's all about. And that's why I think it is so wonderful to look at our charts and to study astrology because it's really all about identifying patterns, Look at where the energy imbalances are. Look at where you're strong. Look at where you're weak. Look where you always make that stupid mistake and don't make it next time. And I think it's so healthy. I think it's so healthy to do this right now, particularly because I am in the most bizarre situation. But my project is just a series of bizarre situations. And as I say every day, I'm in a telepathic situation with Elvis Costello. I can't believe it. But it's every day, and he has not told me publicly that I'm insane yet. Quite the contrary. So I'm just going to continue to go with this. I think he asked me to do very strange things, but because he, as we will discuss tonight, has an alignment between the moon and Uranus in his natal chart. And we know that because we have his birthday, but we don't have his birth time. So I can't tell you about the houses or the ascendant or the midheaven or anything like that. But I can tell you where his planets were when he was born. That I can tell you. And I can tell you that Uranus and the moon were very much aligned in Cancer. Okay, so what does that mean? The moon in Cancer. Well, we all know he's very emotional. And we all know that he's very good at expressing his feelings. And we all know he has plenty of them. And then think about that. Put that with Uranus. What did I just say? It's shocking. It's it's nervous. It's lightning. That's a tough spot to have. So I don't think that was very easy for him to deal with. And I feel I deal with him now. And he's very shocking. He's very emotionally shocking. He's constantly shocking me. And the way I am, I like that. I do actually. So I get bored really easily. So for me, I love Uranus energy. It's an awake energy. It keeps you interested. So so it's good. But I've spoken at length about where Uranus is in my chart, and it's in the sixth house. So I'm a revolutionary. It's a revolutionary energy. So I serve through operating in a Uranian fashion in Libra, which is art and money and Venus. Like I was just saying about Taurus, it's not Taurus, but it's Libra. It's also ruled by Venus. So we both have very strong placements of Uranus. So don't be surprised that we're so weird, because that's what that's what Uranus is. And it's not it's not all fun because it does bring a lot of anxiety, and it's not a calm energy. But it's a very exciting energy, and I think it drives creativity. And to have it in Cancer the way he does, it's got to really be a deep deep nervousness. Because for me to have it in Libra, it's my art's very upsetting to a lot of people. My art is revolution. I mean, I could say, like Napoleon did, I am the revolution. And that's Uranus. And it's a good energy if we need a revolution. Some revolutions are whipped up and not good, but some revolutions are needed because actually the crazy part is that the dynasty that's in charge is very revolutionary, and they've been in charge for 200 years. These are the secret society people. They're the order out of chaos people, so they get power through revolutions. I keep showing you that like me and my enemies are almost like a mirror of each other, except my alignment is hopefully good and their alignment is, oh my goodness, not good. And yet we have a lot of parallels, which is why I think it's very interesting to watch us fight it out. So let's keep it up and let's get our energy up and let's be really confident, because in other transit that we have today, which is one of, I think, the all-time best transits you can possibly have, is Mars and Jupiter. I had just said that Mars and Jupiter were aligned in Pisces, and that's when I changed the name of the stream to Astrology Throwdown tonight to commemorate that, because I thought that would be a really good time to dedicate the stream more to astrology, because it was Mars and Jupiter in Pisces. Well, what does that mean? Mars is fire and starting things and being assertive and putting yourself first. I have said many times, I have Mars and Aries on my Senate, but it's retrograde. It's in an intercepted Aries, it's kinda trapped, and it's in the 12th house, so it's kinda underwater. So I have this, like, hurt, trapped, spiritual, uh, almost like a doormat, Mars in Aries on the ascendant, but it's such a strong placement to have Mars and Aries in your ascendant. People are gonna notice that, but it's very afflicted. Okay. So that was a good Mars for me because it was in Pisces, and my Mars is in the 12th house, and that's a space of Pisces. It's a kind of a paladin energy. So I was hoping that that would give me some good luck if I dedicated the stream more to astrology at that time because I was starting something that's Mars. Jupiter is all about education, sharing, giving, being benevolent, and it's about astrology and it's about communicating. Jupiter is a very high minded, philosophical, deep, and genuinely spiritual and religious placement. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful energy for getting along and helping each other. And I have Jupiter in my 10th house, and it's all I do is try to share and give and teach. So I'm trying to show you what a wonderful alignment we have today between Jupiter and Mars in Aries. That's so strong. And this Mars isn't all afflicted like my poor Mars is. Right now, this Mars is, let's have a look at this. It's right in front of me. We have a trine, not a trine, it's a sextile. We have a sextile with the sun. Okay, so crazy powerful. And a sextile Pluto, even more powerful. We have everything right now. We have it all. We have the energy. We have the wind in our back. We have the luck of Jupiter. We have the knowledge, right? We're not fooled anymore. We're learning. That's Jupiter. And we have the initiative and we have the power and we have the spotlight on us because it's sextile. That's a harmonious aspect with the sun. And there is the moon right there. So it's a new moon, it's a new cycle. We can set ourselves on a new path right now and decide that we are going to use that incredible power of Jupiter. This is real. This stuff works. I've proven it over and over and over again. Get over your disbelief because it has been proven. How many predictions have I made? How many times have I shown you? You'll see in a month that things are going to happen and we will move forward in a Martian, but it's a martial way. We can move forward and we can have that luck. It is really exciting. And the other super strange project that has been put on my plate, and I love it. I love super strange projects being put on my plate, and I like challenges. And I got a weirdo challenge on top of all my other weirdo challenges. And it's to talk about Cohen's chart. I can't believe he wants me to talk about it. I can't believe it. But he doesn't want me to let his birth time out. And I don't even have it because I can't even talk to him. I have what I think it is, but oh, I'm gonna be really upset if it's wrong too. That's the worst part about me. It's the whole project's over. Everything was a farce. If I find out this birth time that I think is right isn't right. So my whole life is hanging on a string right now, unfortunately. But I have to get out of that mentality. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I hate being wrong. But like you said, the birth time that I think is right makes total sense. Everything is like, I want to talk about it because it's so him, but maybe I'm wrong. It's not verified. Unfortunately, there's nothing I can do about it. That's why I try to get smoking guns and verify everything. And boy, with astrology, it's all about the birth time, unfortunately. And I don't have it. Bummed about it. Even if it was on the internet, I probably wouldn't believe it. So better safe than sorry. We'll look at the parts we can look at. And the parts we can look at that are accurate are so difficult, just like him. This is not an easy chart to interpret at all. Not that I'm great at doing it, but we're learning together, just like we learned everything else together. We're going to learn astrology in a deep way together. This is the project right now, and the reason Cohen's chart is so hard to understand, just like he is because he has all of these stelliums. What's a stellium? It's groupings of planets, it's alignments. Okay, so he has a weird chart, but everybody has a weird chart, I'm sure. It looks to me like he has 4 stelliums, and they're all on one side of the chart. You cannot tell me that's not a little different. So he has a bowl pattern, which means all the planets are on one side. We're gonna have to look into that. Think about that. Basically, we're trying to figure out what's going on with him, and we're trying to figure out what's going on with this chart. And we do find out a little hint here and there. Keeps us with our magnifying glasses, trying to figure out what's going on with him. We're going to find I think he enjoys us figuring him out too, because he doesn't hide much. It's just you have to understand how he's communicating. And I'm not saying I totally do, but whoa, I found out a lot lately. Whoa, I can't believe it. It's a lot more interesting than I thought. And shocking. There it is. He's always shocking. Everything about him is constantly shocking. So that's that moon aligned with Uranus. As soon as I looked at his chart, I was like, oh, there it is. He's so shocking emotionally. I'm not even gonna go further than that. Anybody can see that everything going on with my project is shocking and emotional. And it's in Cancer, so that's the place of the moon. And of course, I have to bring up the last song in A Boy Named If is Mr. Crescent. Who's Mr. Crescent? He has 3 planets in Cancer, including the moon. That's Mr. Crescent. There's no question who Mr. Crescent is. Oh my goodness. And because he's so emotional. And the lead planet in the stellium. What does that mean, the lead planet? That's the first planet in the chart, which means the chart moves from Aries to Pisces. So the first is Aries and the last is Pisces. And Jupiter is at the lowest degree in Cancer in this particular stellium. And basically, what I do is the internet is flooded with astrology sites, and a lot of them I think are very accurate. And the astrologers don't agree on things sometimes. So what do? You try it out. You see if it works for you. If it works for you, take it. If it doesn't work for you, keep it in mind. That's all we can do. This is an art. This is by no means locked down. And if it helps us, great. If it doesn't help us, oh well. So the first one in this stellium is Jupiter. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because when I read all these different sites about stelliums, just trying to figure out like how are we going to approach this, because I don't really have stelliums. So this isn't something I know a ton about. So I have to go and see like what they're all saying. I assume that none of them are legit, just so you know. But they're trying to like rope you in. They could be wonderful people, but I'm just saying like the internet. Oh my goodness. So there was a consensus that the first planet in a stellium is the first responder of the stellium. So let's say a planet transits the stellium, or a planet is opposite 180 degrees in a opposite polarity sign, making an aspect to the stellium. Well, the first one is going to have an effect on how the story goes. So a lot of them were discussing the stellium as if they were a story. So let's just say there's a car accident, okay? And that's the what would be a car accident? Well, it'd be Aries and Saturn. Aries and Saturn are made a car accident, right? And it's opposite the stellium, or let's just say it's transiting the stellium directly. It's aligning with the natal placement. Let's just say that. Okay. So now the car accident's coming by, the Mars and Saturn. The first one is going to be Jupiter. So what's Jupiter going to do with the car accident? He's going to make sure everybody's all right. He's going to hand out blankets. He's going to give good advice. He's going to know what he's talking about. That's what Jupiter's going to do. And then what's the moon? Mr. Crescent's going to come running out, crying, screaming, freaking out. And then Uranus will come in. Then David Bowie comes out and he starts to do some funky moves, and then nobody knows what's going on. Anyway, so it's gonna end weird. That could happen at a car accident. There's your story, okay? Try to give you their personalities. Okay, fine. So, what is Jupiter? Jupiter is so important in Cohen's chart because it's at the forefront of this stellium, which is obviously so him. Who's the educator? He is. Who's the one who knows everything? Him. Who's the one who just put out a philosophy audiobook about teaching guitar? I mean, how much more Jupiter can you get than that? And it's in Cancer, and he's doing it in such incredible emotionally connected way. I just love that audio. I can't even tell you how much I love that freaking audiobook. It's so good. I hope everybody gets into it. I think it would really change the world if people appreciated it the way I do. See, appreciation, Taurus, appreciate what he has done. I have to say, I can't say enough about that audiobook available on Audible. I cannot say enough about that audiobook. It has completely changed my life. I am playing guitar. It never sounds as good as I want it to. But the funny thing, I know everything's weird with me, but I did get guitar advice from Prince a couple years ago, and I love Prince. Prince, wherever you are, I love you so much. I'm so busy. I don't even have time to like check in with Prince anymore. It's crazy, but I respect him and seriously talk to him. Talk to Prince because he has great things to say and he's very benevolent. I can't even believe that I say these things. I know it sounds silly, but anyway, so what I learned from Prince about guitar, I know it sounds crazy to say that, but the feeling I got from what I perceived to be my discussion with Prince was you have to like change your hand. Your hand has to become different. And a lot of the work is just developing this like new guitar hand. It's funny that the reason I got that feeling, I can't believe I'm saying this from Prince, is the way he was telling me. He's like, you just have to keep doing it until your hand changes, and get your calluses and finger strength. He was always emphasizing, and he really didn't even care what I did as long as I was like working that hand into like the guitar claw. I could tell he didn't care if I watched YouTube videos, he didn't care if I went out of a book, as long as I was, like, creating the guitar claw, and I did my words, obviously, and I practiced and practiced and practiced. I did my best. I did learn how to, play a song, and, I was even like, everything I do is guided. If I'm not guided, it's not even gonna happen. So at the end of that process, I was guided to go to Guitar Center and have the guitar refurbished. I have this like gorgeous guitar from the 70s and it's been like a magical object to me. I'm like, maybe one day I'll learn to play it. Maybe one day I can be a musician. This thing like beckons to me. And it's so beautiful. It's old, it's crumbling, but it's so beautiful. It's Ovation Adamus. And I know it sounds good sometimes. So I was told to take that guitar and have it fixed and have it so it plugs in. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Why am I being asked to do this? And a minute later, the project changed and it was like, you're not playing guitar anymore. And that happens. It just changes in a minute. And I'm like, oh, but I just had the guitar refurbished. That was kind of interesting. They're like, no more music. This is really what happened. And the whole time I was like, "Oh, I really hope I can become a musician someday." Like, the whole time I was like, "Oh, that's so sad. I can't but I'm so busy. I'm not being told to do it. I can't do it." That's literally what happened. And then, I can't believe this whole thing I've been through with my emotional, roller coaster involving Elvis Costello. This is so bizarre. I, like, reflect on it. I cannot believe it. But, obviously, something about this guitar story and him are involved. And, so I'm watching his media over the last few years, and it seems that he's been trying to communicate with me, and I never imagined in a million years that he would ever even know that I exist. I can't emphasize that enough. And yes, I didn't think that he could ever see me because obviously I was having some kind of magical thinking episode where celebrities aren't real or something. I I can't believe how subverted my thinking has been throughout my life. And I'm so sorry I ever watched TV, but I had to watch TV to do what I'm doing. Anyway, so the mind control is unbelievable, and so much of the mind control is directed at like messing us up about celebrities and probably having them be very messed up about us. I think there's a real push to separate us and to make us hate each other. And I think that there's a plan in that. I think they're hoping that we're going to like kill each other because I think this is a typical strategy that they run where one group is given everything and the other group gets to watch them have everything and serve them. And, the group that serves them gets a lot of boots in the face from them because they're so unbelievably spoiled. And they are really spoiled. And I'm not talking about these ones. It always ends up that way. The one group becomes incredibly spoiled, and the other group is incredibly abused. So then, when the secret societies decide it's time to light the spark, this group will kill each other because the one group is incredibly spoiled. They can't take care of themselves because they're brats. Oh, but they have all that money. And then the other group is so mad. They're so mad and they so outnumber that little spoiled group. Okay, so this is how countries are destroyed on purpose. And I can so clearly see that every single thing was done to create this rift between us, the angry people. Look, I couldn't have a career because I'm not one of them. And if I complained about it, oh, guess what? They would say I'm a jealous loser because, oh, we all have opportunities. There's not a rigged game. Do you see the mind game of that? Of course, I'm going to be furious at the people who get everything. How can I not be angry at them? How can I not be frustrated when, they get to fly around and they get to stay in really nice hotels and they get to go to rock concerts and they get to do all kinds of things that we can just sit there and watch them do. And then we're told when we turn on the TV that they're like deities and they know everything and they're so special. And oh, what do they think? And how important are they? So all we're told is how they're better than us. And we can sense that they're lying, okay? All of this fakeness that comes from the television, we do sense it, and it makes us even angrier. And the reason I'm saying this is we need to understand that this is a rigged game. This is hatred that is deliberately created through sorcery. This is specifically sorcery techniques to destroy countries. So when I say these things about the elites or whatever you want to call them. I never call them the elites. I always call them city people because I'm an angry local, and angry locals call them city people. That's what we call them. Anyway, it doesn't matter what you call them. My point is we have to get past this, really get past this. Yes, I'm jealous. I'm resentful. I'm angry. It was terrible. I hate being an angry local. I'm sorry. I can't help it. I was set up to be an angry local. And you guys were set up to step on us. And lots did on me. Okay, so when people see me so mad at Matt Lauer, oh, that was a lifetime in the making. Okay, but I was also set up to do that to Matt Lauer, and Matt Lauer was set up to act like that towards me. You see, that whole thing is really engineered before we're born. He was brought up to be that much of a brat. Okay, and I was brought up to be that angry about it. Okay. So we have to get past this. Absolutely. We can't let it work this time. We have to realize that there's a lot of lies floating around. Let's come clean. Let's get honest. Whatever's going on, guess what? It's out. It is out. I want to know what's going on. Not really. I just want to move past what's going on, really. And we have to drop that dynasty. Absolutely. And let's not kill each other because you guys have all the money and we have all the people and all the anger. Let's just not do it. Let's skip killing each other and let's just drop the dynasty, cut the strings. See, that's why so much is put into separating us because it would be that easy. And the reason I'm saying this is because Mars is in Aries. With Jupiter, we can do this. Understand that we can do this. Okay? We can do this. We can move on. We can be happy. We can take care of each other. We can do things for each other. There is enough for everybody. Oh my goodness. It's a mentality of scarcity. That's our biggest enemy because they think, oh, if they don't kill us, they won't be safe. They're never going to be safe. They're never going to stop attacking us because they never feel safe. This is a mentality of scarcity. This is a fear mentality. Yes, I'm yelling again, but they have a scarcity fear mentality. And so do we because we're influenced by them. We need to move on. Death is okay. Uh, we'll deal with things. We don't have to be terrified all the time. This is being created. Anyway, very preachy right now. My point is that I put all this information on my blog under the astrology report about Cohen's situation in his chart. I know I went on a million tangents, but the point is, I want you to understand that this big emotionality of Cohen is right there in his chart. So there you have a little proof. And the other proof, poor Cohen, I feel bad for him because he has he has an opposition with that emotional stellium with Chiron, which is very painful, very wounded. He is very wounded. Oh, join the club. So we're all very wounded. We have to heal, okay? But that's the gift of Chiron. Let me tell you a little bit about Chiron. Again, this is an archetype. This is just a story to make you appreciate what Chiron's energy is all about. Chiron's supposedly a centaur, and he loves to heal, but he has a wound that he can't heal. And I think we can all relate to that. We can help others, but sometimes we can't help ourselves, and that is really sad. So that's a Chiron energy, and it is so sad. Those of us that want to help others, but we need help. That's Chiron energy. And somebody who's very sensitive and very wounded, like we both are, is going to have some difficult aspects probably with Chiron. Anyway, so that's the pain right there and the wounds. But what I will say is if with that difficult placement, he can get a hold of that energy, he could be a great healer. There's no question because it's so prominent in his chart. It's like the one big formation in his chart is a what's called a T square, which is an opposition, which is a difficult aspect between two planets that are in opposing polarities. Okay, so it's not just that Chiron is in a face off with Jupiter. Well, I don't want to complicate it. With Jupiter, Moon, Uranus. Think about that. That forms like a super planet that's giving him so much energy and it's making him so huge because it's Jupiter and he's so emotional. I mean, it's so clear that you see that with him. He's so like larger than life and emotional and wounded. It's incredible how accurate this is. And it's in Capricorn and Cancer. So think about that. I talked about that the other day, the polarity of Capricorn and Cancer. Okay. Capricorn is like work, ambition, getting ahead, plotting, scheming, building foundations, making plans. It's just work. Okay. So that's Capricorn. So he has Chiron, think of that, like a wounded healer, like painful, sensitive, caring in a place of ambition. That's him. He's such a sweet person. And he's in the Saturn death cult. That's Capricorn in its worst manifestation. So that represents him about as well as you can possibly represent him. And he's in an opposition with this stellium in Cancer, and he's so emotional. Anyway, so they're both square in other stellium. Okay, the first one is Venus, and the next one is Neptune, and the following one is Saturn. Okay, so once again, we're going to do another car accident. And the solution has to go through this stellium at the top of the T square. So if you look at the chart on my blog in the astrology report, you'll see I drew a T on his chart so you can see where the T square is. And the idea of a T square, which I also have one, I know a lot about T squares, is it's it creates all of this tension. It's really a showdown. Think about that. Like you're in a showdown with somebody. There's a lot of tension. It's not relaxed at all. But that energy has to go somewhere, and it is dealt with or released through this stellium at the top of the T square. And the stellium at the top of the T square is Venus, Neptune, and Saturn. So the energy of this painful, emotional, shocking, this pain he's in, he has to look to Venus, Neptune, and Saturn to expunge it. What's Venus? Venus is money and culture and art. It's everything that he is. So he has to deal with it in an artistic, spiritual way, because that's Pisces, that's Neptune. Okay, so now you're really getting into the project. What is he doing right now? He is involved with his twin flame telepathically. And he is working and working and working and working and working to get out of his situation. Okay, that's Saturn working. Okay, so he really is trying to solve this wounded emotion, this anguish that he's in. And he's trying to use art, spirituality, and work to get out of it. It's amazing how accurate this is. And I read on Quora, there was an astrologer who said he worked for the NIH in England as an astrologer helping people get over their health problems. And when I heard that on Quora, he sounded so real, this astrologer. I was like, what? They do that? The government pays astrologers to diagnose illnesses in the system in England. I was shocked that he was saying that. But I was like, okay, I'll pay a lot of attention to this, because he was talking about T-squares, and he was talking about it as a medical issue. And, I have said I did resolve a very serious health problem with astrology. So I can verify that it actually does work. So I really sat up when this man said that he was using astrology in so medical a way. I was like, oh, I didn't even know that. And he said, when you have a T square, there's an empty leg, because it really wants to be a square or a cross. So there's like something missing, because think of it, it's like a balanced formation, a square. It's like missing a leg. Okay. The guy said, the NIH guy, astrologer, he said, there's a lot of tension that's created in a T square, but if you go to the spot where the missing leg is, he says you can find your solution there. Okay. So what did I do? I tried to apply it to my own situation, and I looked at my T square on my ascendant, and I saw where the missing leg was, and the missing leg was at the Saturn in the third house. It's the missing leg is a little off. That's why it's not another another grand cross. It's just a T square, because that Saturn's a little off. So basically a little bit to the right of that Saturn. But that's where the Saturn is anyway. So it's another thing pointing to Saturn in the third house in Cancer. It's being like, my whole life story is in that. And then just to the right of it, where the missing leg was, it was Cancer in my chart. There's no planets there, but it was Cancer on the IC, which is like the past and past lives and memories. And I had the third house and Cancer there, which is communication and emotions and remembering the past and everything. So back then, when I read that Quora article, I thought, oh, this would be really good for me to read the memoirs, because I'll be communicating about the past and my past lives. And somehow I really believed that was going to so emphasize that missing place, because I'm not really good with my family. I'm not really, I'm not, my Cancer is missing. My Cancer. Anyway, it's that part of me is missing. So I did all of these things to kind of beef it up, and I did actually get better. So that man's advice essentially helped me because I tried it. So that's what this is all about. I do not trust the astrologers on the web. I'm sure some of you are good people, and some of you, I am fans of some of you, but don't trust anything. I don't want to get you in trouble because I'm putting on links of charlatans. It might be a charlatan. Please just take the advice, but watch out, definitely, because for me to do this, the information is, I can see when it's correct. I'm not an astrologer. So all I can do is navigate this world and say, beware. There are charlatans doing this on the internet. There's no question about that. Please don't get involved in one of them and say, oh, well, it was on the taster. I thought it was okay. Absolutely not. It's not okay. Watch out, beware, okay? I feel really bad about it, but it's like, well, the information's accurate. So we're kind of like taking the information, but don't get scammed, please. Okay, that was a good explanation. Let's move along with that one. We'll keep going, and we're going to continue to find out. I think we found out something that the yeah, he can get out of it through spirituality and art and work. That's what it says. So there's an answer. That is an actual answer. So let's read a letter by Napoleon. It's so cool to hear him before he becomes very stern, and he really did change. He kind of put a mask on, and he hid this side of himself. So it's so nice that we can see the the highly emotional, again, emotions. Napoleon was so emotional. Oof. Anyway, just like Cohen, just like me. Anyway, so let's hear about Napoleon before he hid how emotional he is. I'm going to bed, my little Josephine, my heart full of your adorable image, and grieved at having to remain far away from you so long. But I hope that within a few days my situation will be happier, and I shall be able at my ease to give you proofs of the ardent love you have inspired. You do not write me anymore. You do not think anymore on your lover. Cruel woman, do you not know that without you, without your heart, your love, there is no happiness, not even life for your husband? Good God, how happy I would be if I could assist at your charming toilette. Little shoulders, a little white breast, elastic, very firm, above, little face with a handkerchief à la Creole. Which one wants to bite? You know well that I don't forget certain calls. You know what I mean, the little black forest. I give it 1,000 kisses and await with impatient the moment of being there. I am all yours. Life, happiness, pleasure are what you make them. To live in a Josephine is to live in Elysium. Kisses on the mouth, the eyes, shoulder, the breast, partout, all over. Okay, most. That's funny. Anyway, little erotic there. It's funny. Okay. Anyway, so let's go to the which one is more like the other. They are so similar. I can't believe it. I was so shocked at the incredible description of his apartment when he was a very small child. I don't know how he remembers everything. And I did mention the only person with that kind of memory was Napoleon. He was famous. He was a marvel. And oh my goodness, Cohen is too. He remembers everything. It's incredible. How has he been so hard drinking and hard living, and with that memory? It's superhuman to me. Either he wasn't drinking that hard, really, or He's unbelievable, superhuman. How does he have that memory? I still can't quite remember Cold, Cold Heart. I don't know how he does it. It's unbelievable. Anyway, yes, I am in awe. With reason, everybody's in awe of him who can appreciate him. Anyway, let's continue more about the early days in London. Outside the back door was a tiny courtyard around a black manhole above an unseen drain. Boy-eating spiders almost certainly lurked behind the rough wooden door to our outside lavatory. Beyond the steep brick wall, there was a railway line. Pillars of smoke and steam were sometimes visible, and the rattle of carriages, and the squeal and the clank, and the clack of wheels rolling over the points were frequently heard. When I was old enough to first view the surreal dream canvases of Giorgio de Chirico, they looked just like our old backyard. At the other end of the corridor, next to the front door, was the latched cover of a defunct coal hole. It was obviously full of monsters and kept me from mounting the stone steps up to the pavement level. Except for that one time with the sword, I must have been about 4 years old and smitten with the legend of sorrow, as played out on the tiny black and white television set in front of the room. Cereal box lids were collected and a postal order dispatched, and after an endless wait, a sleek black plastic sword arrived. It had a semicircular handguard and a small hole at the end of the foil for inserting a small piece of chalk with which you could leave the mark of sorrow. Say, dedicated to heroism. Have a good evening. Thank you so much for listening.